Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the SH Figuarts Batman Ninja, the Joker, Demon King of the Sixth Heaven. Don't worry about any of that. Maybe don't even worry about watching it. It wasn't the best, wasn't the best thing ever. But it does have some cool character designs. Unfortunately, the Figuarts version of Batman, while it's a cool design for the character, they didn't make a cool figure out of it. This, on the other hand, is markedly better than Batman. Still suffers from some issues, but overall it's a much better looking figure, much more accurate to the source material, and better executed in just about every way. So let's go ahead and get him off the stand and take a closer look. This guy stands just about 15.5 centimeters. That's going to be like an average to like right about here, just above his head, but below all that other stuff. And you know what? That's how I want to measure it, so that's how I'm going to measure it. And that's going to put him at pretty close to 6 inches, right around there. Again, it's taller if you count the other stuff, but we don't want to do that. And as you can see, much more aesthetically pleasing than Batman. The proportions are a lot more consistent. It's like one cohesive style. Sure, it's still stylized, but it makes sense, whereas Batman was just a total mess. This guy looks much better. His paint job's really clean. You can see the gold line work, very, very nice up here and down here. All the line work for his vest, there's like 10 different colors going on. It's really well executed. The line work down here is very clean. There's shading throughout the pants, more coloring for these little ruffles, more coloring for the shoes. Just all around a really clean paint job. There's even shading throughout the jacket. Very, very nicely executed paint job. The face is really clean. Can't complain about the aesthetic, that's for sure. They did do that symmetry thing again with the sculpting. The pants are the same on either side, just mirrored, which is a lot less noticeable on this guy, so it's less of a problem, but it's still kind of a bummer that they did that. No need to do it really. It's easy enough to just sculpt it in symmetry and then tweak it a little bit to make it look a little bit more realistic, but it's not the biggest deal in the world. Very aesthetically pleasing though, especially compared to Batman. Let's go ahead and talk about his accessories, and then we'll get into the articulation. We have two different heads. We have the one neutral head where he's just smiling real big, and then we have the one where his mouth is open, and that's very well executed, looks great. We have a bunch of different hands. We have two fist hands, two different sets of gripping hands, two kind of weird hands, which are really just for holding the fans, and then two kind of relaxed hands. So I did mention he does have two fans, nicely executed. And then lastly, we do have his sword and scabbard, and his scabbard is not grossly oversized like Batman's, maybe just a little tiny bit, but both are well enough executed. Definitely a good spread, I'm pretty pleased with that. Only thing you'd really need otherwise is like a flight stand or a display stand or something like that, so no problems there. Now the jacket, as you might have noticed, very soft material and it's very floaty. You could technically remove it if you wanted to. You just bring the arms back and pull it off. So you can do that. And that's kind of cool. It's a nice look. But you have options. For the head, double ball peg. Moves around, no problem. Of course, the sculpt is going to get in the way a little bit, but that's to be expected. That's fine. It works. For the shoulders, we have a really long ball peg connecting the arm to the body. And then we have a ball hinge on the outside, so you get really good range, no problem at all. It's weird though, because you actually get two different bicep swivels, one right below the shoulder and one right below that, but whatever, they're there. Really ugly single jointed elbow. Not sure what they were thinking with that other than it'll work, but you can see the entire hinge right there kind of sticking out, and you still don't get that much range. It's still just slightly better than 90 and creates a big gap, so I don't really get that. For the wrist, we have a ball hinge, which works really well because it's the same size as the wrist, which looks good, and it does give you really good range, though not necessarily practical range. It is there. No articulation in the upper torso, just down here underneath his green vest, but it rocks around pretty well. I'll zoom out so you can see it a little bit better. It rocks around a little bit, not a ton, but I guess that's probably enough. Not even full rotation. For the hips, that's about it. Again, not very well executed. Something about this line is like they didn't put that much effort into it, I guess. I don't know, but this one is still markedly better, so keep that in mind. He can kick pretty well, so that's good. You do get your thigh swivel, and then you have a double jointed knee that gives you less than 90 degrees. So it's not a terribly ugly knee joint, but it's not practically very useful. Less than 90 degrees is not good. And then for the ankles, ball hinge, minimal range forward and back, just enough to keep him standing. Then a traditional ankle rocker, which is very minimal again. And then a toe hinge, which is huge and probably not the most practical. So again, not a particularly impressive figure in all regards, but at least he is aesthetically pleasing, so you can put him in a decent pose, and he'll look good on a shelf, especially if you put him next to Batman, because anything would look good next to that Batman figure, which is disappointing. But this guy's nice. You have matte finishes, satin finishes, metallic finishes, clean paint all around, decent sculpt all around. Posability is good enough that I think you guys are going to like it. So I recommend this, which is weird because I shouldn't, because if you don't have Batman, what's the point of having Joker? But whatever, Batman kind of sucked. This one's kind of good. So there you go. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it, guys. That does help me out a whole bunch. I would really appreciate it. And if you haven't subscribed, I'd appreciate you do that too. And it would be good for you because I do have new content up every single day, more or less. And we talk about action figures, movies, TV shows, video games, all kinds of fun stuff. So make sure you come back for that. And in the meantime, keep collecting.